and having to, that first round, realising, shit, I'm in here again with this beast, that is going to be daunting for Diego.
From your perspective, how different do you think it looks, this rematch between Lopez and Volk? Do you think it's similar? Do you think Volk kind of dominates him even more here? What do you think it looks like?
I hope Volk wins. I'm going to make sure I say that. But part of me feels like Diego did have a moment or two where he was able to crack Volk. Volk's chin is not what it used to be, so I'm going to say his durability is definitely not the same with those two big, brutal knockouts back to back. So with that said, you get past a dangerous, heavy-handed striker the first time. You definitely won pretty convincingly, pretty dominantly, but now you got to take that puncher's chance with this guy again for another 25 minutes. And I kind of lean towards Diego getting the upset. But kudos to him, he just taking what the UFC gave him, but it just sucks because that's not the fight to make. And if I'm Volk, I'm surprised he didn't give a little more push.
Wow, these are really good.
I know he's whoever, anytime, anywhere, kind of a guy.
Didn't really take me no time at all. That's wrong.
At this point, I would imagine if I were him, I would be fighting for the remains of my legacy. I would want to get something that's going to mean something. Not just say I'm taking another risky fight. At that point, just fight Gene Silva coming off of a loss. You know what I mean? It's like if you want to fight someone with entertaining,
shouldn't you be watching your show?
Throw that guy in the mix. But the whole point is just supposed to be the guys who are riding win streaks, get the fans some momentum, something excited to be to want to watch, and give us somewhat of a storyline. That's why I got into it. It's like it's not WWE, but it's something about a good storyline when someone comes up, they battle back, like Piotr Jan. Just won 3 fights to get back after being winless for 2.5 years, maybe 3, and then comes back and wins the title again. Like, fans could get behind a storyline like that. Like, oh man, this guy, we thought he was gonna be the champ for a long time.
This is my show.
He did something stupid, and then he ended up losing to this guy and that guy.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know how much of a show it is, considering I'm not really being entertaining, but
3 big wins,
I'll
gets the
take
fans excited again. For Diego Lopez, he goes out there, and let's say he does not get that punch.
I mean, I'll start officially once I figure out how to put this pencil
Volk
back
is
together.
a better technician than him, but Father Time he's not fair. He doesn't play by the same rules. So if he does lose, where does he go from there? I thought it would have made more sense for him to fight me, try to get 2 wins in a row, and give me an opportunity to fight a title contender. Let Barone or Mozart fight Volk and keep the division moving. Maybe Volk would have probably stuck around for a fight or 2 after. But this might just be, depending on how this fight goes, it might just be his last.
How do you break it down? How do you see this rematch going? I was talking to Joe Lopez, and he was saying, hey, we had success in every area of the game. Alex kind of couldn't see there for a round, and that's why there was that situation there. But outside of that, we feel like Diego Lopez never really was able to answer any of the questions or the puzzles that we had for him in the fight.
Well, and that's kind of the double-edged sword of Diego Lopez being such an entertaining fighter, is it, at the expense of him making better decisions, which would keep him in the fight a little longer, he's going to be a little bit more aggressive and maybe fall into some of the traps of Volkanovski. But I think this fight really does come down to
am I missing something?
Volkanovski shows up. I mean, he's getting older, and I say it all the time, fighters age overnight. And if he aged overnight, he might lose this fight because he might run into something. He might not have the ability to set the same traps or have the same instincts or same vision that he had a year ago when he was young. And when I say that, it's apparent to me that fighters get old overnight. And if Volkanovski got old overnight, he could very well lose this fight, which would not be a good thing, and it would kind of justify the fact. It would actually justify putting Diego Lopez in the fight in the first place. So that's why I said it's a lose-lose situation, because he could lose this fight because Diego Lopez is wild, he's aggressive, he's hard to kind of contain at times, and he's dangerous. If he goes out there and beat Volkanovski loses the title. If Volkanovski beats him, we'll just say he didn't deserve it anyway. The fans are going to say it should have been Lerone Murphy anyway. So that's why I think Volkanovski's he's in a spot here where he can't really win much by beating Diego Lopez. But the chances of him losing, it's high, man. Because
Yeah,
what is he, 38 now?
I'll put this together later.
Yeah, he's around that age.
He's
Yeah.
around 37, and at that weight class, 145, when you start to hit past 37, I'm telling you, your reflexes go, your speed goes, your balance goes, your vision starts to go a little bit. And when you're dealing with a guy who is as wild and as aggressive as Diego Lopez, you can't afford to have those things go. So this is a dangerous fight for Volkanovski.
Look back on that fight. What are a couple of things that you learned about yourself?
Nair Arsenio, what's going on?
I didn't look in this fight. Now
Topuria is a monster, bro.
Topuria is a nightmare.
Extremely dangerous man.
That guy, Ilia Topuria, is terrifying. That guy's an animal.
I'm unbreakable. I know that I can finish anyone in this division.
He's undefeated, man. I don't think people understand how rare this is in mixed martial art.
Ilia Topuria went 17-0, knocked out Alexander Volkanovski in the second round.
Won the title. He looks like a guy who could be one of the all-time greats.
I just know my skills, Joe. I work so hard.
Became the first man to ever knock out Max Holloway, a fighter who'd never even been knocked down in 34 professional fights.
I know that I'm going to be the biggest superstar in the UFC because of all the things you are going to see.
Moved up to lightweight and destroyed Charles Oliveira in under 2.5 minutes. Two-division champion, number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Undefeated, unstoppable. But here's the thing nobody's talking about. It's not just that Topuria wins, it's that his opponents can't figure him out, can't touch him, can't solve the puzzle. Holloway threw everything at him. Volkanovski tried every trick. Oliveira brought his A-game, didn't matter. This is the story of why fighters have a tough time competing with Ilia Topuria. And it's not what you think. Most fighters are specialists. They're really good at one thing. Khabib, wrestling and grappling. Unbeatable on the ground. Israel Adesanya, striking, technical, precise. Charles Oliveira, submissions. Dangerous off his back. Ilia Topuria, he's elite at everything. And that's the problem. When Topuria came into the UFC in 2020, people knew one thing. This kid could grapple.
Watching boxing?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
No, I'm watching
trained in Greco-Roman wrestling since he was 7
well,
years old
UFC,
in Georgia.
MMA.
His first 8 professional wins, 7 submissions, triangle chokes, rear
Just
naked
getting ready to
chokes,
watch the fights this
guillotines,
weekend
arm
on
triangles.
Saturday.
Kid was a submission machine.
Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez.
He is undersized. He's fought for Cage Warrior. He fought for Brave CF. I think Yusuf Zalal is a little bit too quick on the feet in the first round to get finished quickly here.
No es que sé que voy a pelear en la UFC. Mi objetivo no es llegar a la UFC porque yo sé que voy a llegar.
Beat some good guys, dominated some good guys as well. Has a bunch of quick finishes in his career. 23 years of age. These are 2 young guns going at it. This is not an easy fight for Yusuf Zalal. What is that like to be on the UFC's page? Giant picture of you. UFC saying this guy's gonna break out. You need to watch it. I'm so happy for Yusuf Zalal. He's taking on a savage though. In Ilia Topuria.
UFC 325. I got to get your thoughts because obviously the following week here in Sydney, bit of a strange, a little bit quick, a little bit of a quick turnaround. Maybe not the greatest card in the world, but Alex Volkanovski's back in Sydney defending his belt against Diego Lopez. Strange matchup. I think maybe you and me have spoken about the fact that it's weird the UFC have booked this anyway. But now that the fight is actually going to happen, what's your feel on this one? Because I've spoken to a few people about it, and some people actually feel like Diego Lopez is going to win this rematch. People feel like his youth and experience after sort of going through that loss is going to be a big factor here. Whereas other people just feel like, Alex Volkanovski basically dominated Diego Lopez outside of the fact that he kind of got blinded for that one round.
Appreciate it, my man.
Didn't
Didn't
really
take as long as I thought it would. It kind of just speed ran these drawings.
So how do you feel about it now that you've had a chance for it to sit with you? Do you believe that Lopez has a better chance here of winning than what a lot of people think, or do you think this is just going to be a repeat of what happened? for Alex Volkanovski in the first fight.
No, I think Lopez has got a good opportunity to change some things. You know, there's nothing like being in there with someone for a bunch of time to get a feel of how they move and you know what's different to what you expected, what they did that you know was a surprise, or even maybe. And this is a weird thing as well. Sometimes you expect someone to do something, but then when it happens, it's not how you anticipated it. It's weird, and I feel like there are a lot of people that expect Volkanovski to move a particular way. Like Aldo just could not figure Volkanovski's movement out, and it just looked like Aldo was like, "Hang on, this is not what I."
It looked good for speed drawing.
And I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
having a bit of time with someone, there's some time to dwell on it. And remember, Lopez knows that he's the one that really needs to raise his game to change something.
That's what that coffee
It's a really good
does.
opportunity. It's not the kind of thing, if I was Volk, I'd be wanting to do.
It's kind of a cheat code and energy, I would say.
And then to go, oh yeah, no, it's just.
I might step away for like 5 minutes to
It seems like an unnecessary
because
risk.
right now I'm
But I
about
think
to
it's
put
a
a
good
piece in.
opportunity for Lopez to, you know, to show us quick evolution, and he's at the right age of his career where we're still going to see those good developments in his game. Whereas, you know, Volk we've probably seen the best version of him now, but his other Instagram channel is killing it. Man, he makes me hungry every time I see one of his posts.
Dude, he's in the movies. He's in the Street Fighter movie. He's got the cooking channel. He's on ads all over Australia. Like, he's absolutely crushing it, which I love. 37 years old, of course. So, like, just engaging towards the end of his career, I spoke to his coach who said that this is going to be the last young contender that we're going to fight. We're likely just going to either do, you know, another legend or maybe potentially hang it up in Sydney. But when it comes to Diego Lopez here, right, he was in there with Volk, which is valuable information for him, being able to feel him, like you said, now know what to expect. What do you think the biggest change that he needs to make here is against Alex Volkanovski to be more competitive?
You know, I think overreaching. I think that's the easiest thing to fix. Is, you know, get your feet underneath you and try and cut the cage down. It's a weird thing, footwork, because it was. I remember when I was learning boxing back in the day, when MMA was kind of a thing, but you know there was no gyms certainly, so everyone was going to wherever they could train. And I was doing a lot of boxing sessions, and there was such an obsession about footwork and control of the space, and I feel like that's massively underutilized now in a lot of ways. There are, you know, like Volk is a master of footwork. He's a master of movement. You know, again, I mentioned the Aldo fight. One of my favorite fights of his, where he constantly pulls Aldo out of shape, makes him reach for an opponent that's not there to be hit. And I think that's the challenge with Volk when he's fluid and when he's grooving. You know, when he's found his rhythm. I just think he's very, very difficult for people to judge based on range. I mean, you've got to take that away from him. You know, damage his legs and you know, trap him, put him in a position where you know your punches aren't gonna miss. Overreaching is almost always where I feel like he found himself exposed. And with someone that's so fast in and out of range, I mean, Volk he's a master at tagging people and getting out of the way.
I feel like with Volk as well, there were so many questions in that first Diego Lopez fight. It was almost, and again, like, he's been out of action for a bit, so I think ring rust is still a thing, especially as you get older and you're doing all these other things. But I think he had a lot of questions about himself, right, going into Diego Lopez, like where he's at, can he still compete with the best and still be durable? But it's crazy. I was having a look at the stats here, and Volk is in red and Diego is in blue, and look at the amount of strikes landed by Alex Volkanovski round by round. It was really, really impressive. And of course, he couldn't see for one of the rounds, which was one of the rounds that Diego Lopez was able to sort of have some success in. But if you're Alex Volkanovski and you're like, all right, this guy still hasn't really figured out what I'm doing, but at the same time, he's been in the ring with me for all of these rounds, so surely he's going to be more prepared. What do you think Alex Volkanovski's game plan and strategy should be against a very dangerous Diego Lopez?
I think the more he can keep it MMA, the better. You know, Volk, with his footwork and his striking, there's a lot already to predict there. But if, you know, when he starts adding level changes in, and you remember his early UFC fights, if I remember, was it Kennedy? Did he fight Kennedy? And there was a guy called Rota.
He fought, he fought Jeremy Kennedy. That was UFC 221. He was able to win that one in Perth via TKO punches and elbows.
There was another guy called Hirota, a Japanese.
Hirota, yep, he fought him on Lewis vs. Hunt, which was June 11th, 2017. That was this big return to featherweight.
Yeah, so like you remember that version of Volk where he's tripoded into you, ground and pounding you up against the fence. You know what I mean? Like I would like to see more of that version of Volk. The fluid takedowns from striking or even feinting a takedown and coming back up to punch. The more chaos he can create, obviously he's controlling the chaos because he's a very good decision maker. But the more he can throw on the table for Lopez to think about, the more it's going to kind of shut his game down. Like there might be a tendency for Lopez to, wait for the right opportunity to open up, and then he's getting tagged and throwing and missing. I think that the more Volk can throw at him, the more looks and angles that he can utilize, the better. And I love that old version of Volk where he would just take people down against the fence, but it wasn't like the reason why I like it is because it was different to what a lot of the other ground and pound fighters do. Like you think back to the old Matt Hughes, Sean Shirk days, they would like sit in your guard and beat you up.
The arm.
The Khabib style, which is binding your legs. And
yeah, it's a weird looking character. Let's just say a mutant from the show
that is just
that I'm drawing right now.
If you can't maintain a position, just utilizing that as a part of his game.
Definitely a weird mutant character. I'll tell you that much.
You know what's crazy about?
I forgot her name though.
Get 10 wins to get a shot in the UFC.
Don't start that.
He had to win 7 fights to get a title shot, and then he had to fight Max Holloway like 25 times before people took him seriously. The guy's had a crazy run. He's going to be in Sydney, right, Dan? This is a tough matchup, nevertheless. Probably it's a little bit unfair that he has to fight Diego Lopez again straight away. And I think fans would have loved a Murphy or Mosa fight, but whatever. We're here. Let's say he goes out there, beats Diego Lopez. He's in Sydney. Would you like to see him maybe, call it while he's ahead, retire while he's at home? I know we have some juicy matchups, with Mosa and Murphy around the corner, but, a lot of our favorite fighters, they seem to go out not on their own terms. This is kind of a perfect way to go out, right, in your hometown, doing what you love, on top, with so many other opportunities outside of fighting. Would you like to see him hang him up if things go to plan in Sydney?
I mean, it would make sense, wouldn't it? It would be the smart thing to do. I mean, from an outside perspective, it's difficult for anybody from the outside to suggest what a fighter would want to do. You know what I mean? I mean, like, especially if he has a good performance, he might be like, man, I'm still.
And he's on that huge contract, don't forget, because remember he took that Makhachev fight last second, got that next level contract as well.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I mean, the idea of him fighting, Lerone Murphy is just a killer. Like it'd be a great opportunity for Lerone to get the shot.
I'll be right back.
Like Volk.
Give me a couple of moments. I'm about to put the piece in.
It's time to let the young crowd take over. Especially because he's got so many good opportunities. Like it's different for fighters, like Gaethje, like that boy imagine he's got something to outside. It's kind of the nature of the MMA machine. I remember a while ago when we were talking about Nate Diaz and Chimaev, a fight that just made everyone feel a little bit nauseous. But it's the way it is. If you stick around long enough, you're going to be the cannon fodder for the younger generations coming through. And, you know, sometimes people like to roll the dice. I mean, you know, Chandler sticking around and taking on Paddy was a massive roll of the dice, you know, and you know, not only because it could derail other opportunities like a McGregor fight that could be bigger, but like physical damage. You know, we talked about it how long ago? 40 minutes ago when we first started chatting. Like, you don't know what's going to happen in any one of these fights. Like, it could be your last because you get badly injured. You know, there's been a lot of fighters over the years that have looked like. I mean, remember when Frank Mir broke his femur? I know that was obviously outside of MMA, but like he was the king of the heavyweight division when that happened, and he was never got back to that kind of glory. You know, I don't know. It's such a rough sport, isn't it? I don't know why that's become apparent to me, but I think with Tom Aspinall's eye injury, you know, that's one of the scariest things about the current situation of MMA. The fact that someone's not had a really bad eye. I mean, obviously Bisping's lost his eye, but that was due to an infection, wasn't it? Obviously the injury and then but like the direct injury from the fight causing that. I'm surprised we've not had more of it, to be honest.
Dude, Bisping had a rough one because he got beaten by GSP and then like a week or two later got knocked out by Calvin Gastelum, and you're like, this is a guy that probably shouldn't have been fighting with one eye, and you're like, God damn, what a way to go out.
I don't remember exactly when it was, but I remember sitting next to Bisping on a TV panel once, and he couldn't see out of that eye, and he had a fight booked. I mean, Bisping's always been a maniac. Like he's always been that guy. I've got stories about Bisping that were deleted from my autobiography that were just too far over the line. He's always been an absolute savage, Bisping is. But like you've got to remember, like that's the reality of what Tom Aspinall's potentially facing right now. You know, we've got to wish him all the best. And same with Kayla as well. You know, you've got to hope that we get her in there and healthy for at least one more fight, because who doesn't want to see the Nunes fight?
As we wrap up, man, who are you siding with on this one between Volk and Lopez? Do you believe Lopez can get it done this time around, or do you think Volk retains the belt in Sydney?
No, I think Volk's going to do it. I think he could probably lose a round. I think I think Lopez is going to show some improvements, but I don't know whether the technical improvements are going to be. He's going to make enough technical improvements to be able to make any major difference, especially if we get a slightly different version of Volk. I would like to see him keep it very MMA all the way through. I mean, I think, you know, he's got the gas tank, and I think the more chaotic the appearance for Diego Lopez, the less he actually does. So that's going to be a benefit for Volk, especially over 5 rounds, which I think we're probably going to get from this one.
I think that's why it's a weird fight, because I even feel like for Lopez, losing so closely back-to-back to Alex Volkanovski, it's almost like a detriment. You're better off just waiting for Alex to potentially retire, have like one fight and retire, and then Lopez fights for the title, because how will fans forget that even if Lopez becomes the champion, you know, he's got the 2 losses to Alex Volkanovski, so then it's like, well, you know, it's like the whole Ilia Topuria just leaving divisions and moving up. Like, I don't know, I don't think it does Lopez much good, but
I know what you mean.
Anybody have any art questions?
Of course, yeah.
Are those circles helping draw the line?
The problem is, if at some point he does,
it's just pre-rendering.
especially if it's in the near future.
You know, the way I approach each and every drawing that I do, whether it's characters or environments, which I hardly ever do, usually it's just characters, right? I usually just focus on each drawing in steps. So the first step would be shapes. You know, what are the 2D shapes? Like, what do I see? I see circles, ovals, triangles, you know, to simplify it. And then at the same time, I'm focusing on 3 dimension. Can't even say the word, but 3 dimensions. So basically making it 3D.
Well, Veronica's going to be working Aries.
And lastly, I focus on details. So shapes, forms, and details is basically how I approach any drawing. And then there's like perspective, contrast, but those things come like
I'm looking forward to that, and then
as I'm drawing.
The year's rolling.
You know, basically it's all about drawing is basically all about seeing correctly.
I'm looking around. The studio's kind of set up a bit different. I've got guitars and a variety of different musical stuff.
And problem solving as I'm going along.
Projects that I'm working on myself.
Which is why I try to draw light and fast.
I'll also, obviously, you know, Veronica's training as well. That's the priority above everything. But I want to get back to you know, regular YouTubing as well. I just kind of miss, you know, the back and forth with the fans and putting the content out there and then seeing what you know, what people think of it. So I want to get back to regular war rooms, and you know, even if it's just on my phone or wherever I'm at, I need to just kind of get back into the habit of putting it up there, because I kind of just miss doing it. You know what I mean? It's something I enjoy. I love talking about the fights and thinking about them and pulling them apart. So I always appreciate talking to you as well, my friend. You always have great questions.
Thank you. Well, that's the thing that people.
I have no idea.
On, man, I can't wait for another war room.
What's this character's name? Yeah, I have no idea. I forgot.
The fact that you'll be bringing more YouTube content.
I kind of stopped paying attention to the show after
YouTube
like
channel in the description below. So guys, if you haven't
stuff that me and you
Dan
discussed
Hardy,
about
make
it.
sure to do it. There's going to be a big year with so much content coming your way. And Dan Hardy, thank you so much for joining.
I'm only
me,
drawing
man.
the characters because I like the character designs
right all through the year when it comes
themselves.
to UFC and PFL. So more Dan Hardy YouTube content. That's just going to hit right with the fans. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, mate.
Probably, you know, for a lot of people, this was one of the biggest fights on the card. This is probably one of the biggest fights in women's
Yeah, I don't blame you.
fight history.
Yeah, it's funny because when I was doing a stream earlier, somebody, the first comment was like, I forgot what they said. They said something along, I don't like this type of content. And my response to that was something along the lines of, yeah, I get it, but it's not like I'm drawing anything provocative.
Disappointed that the fight's not going to happen.
Just simply drawing the characters.
To see Amanda Nunes fight and to solve a new problem as
If you
well.
don't like it, oh well.
Exciting. I feel for Kayla. You've just got to think. I mean, of all the injuries that she's had in her time that she's worked through and worked around, you know, to see her as emotional as she was in that interview that I saw earlier today with the neck brace on and stuff, you just like we've had like Tom Aspinall as well. You know, somebody else who's had a pretty serious injury that you know we're kind of waiting for the news. It's a reminder of what the sport's all about, isn't it? You know, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate. You know, I am barely injured. I'm old and creaky, and you know things ache when it's cold. But I look at some of the other guys in my generation and what they deal with now. You know, a lot of people who got the payouts from the class action lawsuit. That money will go towards medical bills and rehab for a lot of.
They didn't say specifically that they didn't like the show. They said that they didn't like
I think that's kind
that type of concept. So they probably could have meant like anime or
there's been a bit of a shift
the characters
fan base,
or
and the culture is very
whatever
much
the
more,
hell they was
the
talking
fighters
about.
are disposable. And you know, with
Either
injuries
way, it
happen
doesn't
like this,
necessarily
whether
matter
it's
to me.
in a fight or in training, it just reminds you what people put themselves through on a daily basis. It's a grind. It's a grind every day. And even someone like Kayla, who's you know probably kicking ass in that.
By the way, I
gym
love how
every
your
week.
profile pictures that.
Like she's been doing it for many
Damn.
years, all the way through her teens and stuff. So there's got to be some wear and tear there. And an injury like this, it's got her attention, and I hope she recovers fast. I'm excited to see the fight. I'll be honest, the winner of the fight is the only fight really that it gets me excited for Cyborg.
Yeah, exactly.
Fight in MMA.
Yeah,
I don't know if
exactly.
it will ever happen, but man,
Rage
that's-
bait, you know what it is.
They're the three, aren't they? They're the three queens of the.
Snowy, a
the
stranger that I don't
featherweight
even know
division.
is gonna get me mad. And then you jump into my stream.
Kayla Harrison as well. Like you guys know her well. She was with PFL.
And then the
too.
thumbnails that I
The
post are
weight
basically
cuts, right,
subject
getting down to
matters
that
of what
weight
I'm
was
drawing. So
insane.
why
We saw some of the health stuff
jump in and
and
saying stuff like that
out on
anyway?
her. She was getting a bit older, and you could probably tell everybody about this a lot more than me. But when you're cutting that much weight, when you're on that much of a calorie deficit, things start falling apart on your body. I was talking to Renier Di Rita, and his stuff was all off whack. And how much do you believe that Kayla Harrison can actually return to this weight class and be healthy and compete? Or do you think it's come to a point that when her neck is healthy, why don't we just do this fight with Amanda Nunes at a high weight class? I mean, I feel like both girls would probably perform better. if they
I'm
didn't
really
cut
liking
as
this
much weight.
pencil though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
This pencil
I mean,
that came from this.
It's not in the UFC's interest to make the fights
thing that you got me.
because it's a division that they don't really host, and there's no benefit in having either of them win at that weight class. It can't get you excited for any fights at bantamweight because they're going to look a lot further away from bantamweight. I mean, the reality is, how many more fights is Kayla going to have? You know, I would imagine 1, 2 more maybe at this weight class. And if the UFC really want to keep her around, then they might give her an opportunity up at featherweight just so she can have a couple more fights and not be, trying to kill herself to get on the scales. I mean, she's heavily muscled.
Those are cheap
and
too.
She's very, very lean.
Yeah, but it works.
Weight class. She's never looked very good.
Well, it works the way I want it to work.
Scales. I mean, it's amazing how well she fills out, but that's
I don't have to press too
the
hard.
sports science behind
when I'm
it.
drawn.
But you can't do it over and over again, no matter how disciplined you are out of camp. I mean, she's just that size,
I gotta tell you, man, this cooking with Volk, it's fun.
We still need to tee it up, man.
We need to tee it up, but I'm talking about some of the stuff that I have seen you cook. You were cooking some shit the other day. What were you making? Was it you shot some? Or you fished and you shot something?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we did on the farm. So we ended up getting a fish that was caught, and then I ended up filleting that. And then my dad seen a deer, and he wanted to make sausages. So because the week before he tried to shoot one and he missed. So he's like, I want you to shoot it. I'm like, all right. 1 sec, so I was in front of the camera. So I'm like, my dad just told me about a deer. I'm going to go over there, shoot that, because we're going to need it for some sausages and some meat, and I'll be back. So literally through the episode, we did that. But then with that deer, we made sausages. 110 kilograms of sausages.
All sausages?
Yeah, all sausages with it. But obviously, you end up having pork meat and pork fat in it as well.
So what do you do? What do you do with all that meat? Do you just store it?
Well, we had our cousins there. I had some of my cousins, Lee and Christopher, who did the sausages with us. And then we just sort of shared them. Like,
that's crazy.
Between a lot of us there.
That's crazy. Are you enjoying doing that? Like, where did the idea for that comes from? Because there are a lot of times where fighters, guys, quiet. There are a lot of times where fighters want to start doing these other things to kind of show their personality. But when I watch you in that setting, it seems like you're really enjoying that. Where'd that love for cooking and all that come from?
I'm just around the family, like in all the family barbecues, and we used to get the lamb and pigs on the rotisseries and all that, and just do big barbecues, big family barbecues. And I would always help. I'd make the marinade, and I'd help, and they just try and take over the barbecue here and there, and that's sort of where it all found a love for it. And then during camps and that through my career, like I had to cook for myself a lot of the time, especially when I was traveling. Then I started recording it, and then people just absolutely loved it. It was crazy because even at the start, when I just do my own dodgy little videos, it was some of my most viewed videos at the time. They were getting millions of views just for me doing like packets of chips. What do you just call them? Crisps? What do you call them?
Potato chips.
Potato chips.
Yeah.
So crushing that, putting it on chicken wings and stuff like that, and it would get millions of views. Very early in my career, and I'm just like, wow, this is cool. So
Yeah, why does he keep breathing like that?
Started a few stories, getting into
I don't know, probably got a missing tooth or something.
Now it's its own identity, and it's gone nuts.
But you got 1 million followers on Cooking with Volk.
That's
crazy for a person to get over 1
Let me
million
turn this
people
down a bit.
subscribing to what they're doing on their personal stuff for the fighting. That's not as out there because you're a world champion. But if you were to watch you cooking, having over 1 million people following that channel is crazy for me, and I can't imagine you.
What are you doing right now anyway?
No, not really. There was even a question.
Like every breath is like that. Yeah, he probably has a missing tooth, or he probably just tired from cutting weight. I don't know. I have no idea. I know it's rather annoying though.
Here we go, boys. Finally, the main event of the Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez 1. Volkanovski's forcing him to turn constantly turns, and it's only 30 seconds in the fight. He's setting the precedent that you're going to constantly turn. This is where Diego can make some difference. He gets here and he shells up in his shell right here. He's got to be doing the same shit Alex Volkanovski's doing, not allowing Alex Volkanovski to go to this side, to this side. What's going on, boys? We have another breakdown for you. This one is Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez 1. We're going to break this fight down. We're going to watch all the rounds, and we're going to give our analysis on what each guy did well and what we can look forward to in this second fight. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to never go live. All right, here we go. So obviously, Alex Volkanovski won the first fight. There's Diego Lopez. All right, here we go. Now, one of the things Volk has that a lot of people don't have as a champion is IQ. Like, his IQ is extremely high, and he's able to make adjustments during the fight. He's fought Islam, he's fought Ilya, he's fought Max, he's fought Yair Rodriguez. I mean, he's fought the higher level competition because he's also been in the game a lot longer. So, okay, here we go. So, watch. This is one thing I said that he keeps on doing. Even when they fought the first time. Make it my pick. There it is. Okay. Watch how he's forcing. Watch how he keeps forcing Homeboy to turn. Watch. Okay, now he's going to the right. He's forcing Diego to turn. Right? Volk is constantly telling him to turn. He's turning the whole entire time. When he's turning, he's going away from this power shot. Right? What he needs to do is he needs to go back this way because he is going into. I gotta see what stance he in, but he needs to go wide in this way and fight and force him to turn. But he's going to the outside, so Volkanovski's forcing him to turn constantly turns, and it's only 30 seconds in the fight. He's setting the precedent that you're gonna constantly turn. You're gonna constantly turn. Let's continue. Okay, now he's going wide. Now he's going in front of the power. Now watch how he goes in front of the power. He's going wide because he's going in front of the strong suit. He doesn't go tight. He goes wide. Right? He's going back to that. Now he's going wide. He's baiting more because he's going into the power.
Let me use the other eraser.
Back to the right. Right? And he's forcing him to turn. Right? And see, you see what I mean? This is some of the things like you guys don't understand, and Volk knows it, right? Even though, look, okay, watch. Okay, watch this. He feints, but look where he's going. He's going to the right. He's going away from the power side, right? He feints, boom. He's going away from that, and look how far he has to reach to get to him. Because he's going away from the power side. He literally has to turn to hit him. He's going away from the power. He turns and his stance comes at it. And look, he's safe because he's going to the right. He realized, he goes, okay, I'm going away from the power. Instead, if he shows and gallops himself, he's going to be better in the situation. We're fucking 1 minute into the fight, and we're not doing all rounds, guys. I lied. This is going to take too long to break down. But look, he's constantly turning him. Constantly turning him. Good kick. Good feints, but nice go back. Ooh, nice uppercut. Nice body kick. Going around the angles, turning him. Constantly turning them. What's up, guys? This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp is online therapy where you can access your therapist around the world, and it's going to be a personalized, licensed therapist to cater to your needs. And when you get there, you're going to take a questionnaire. You're going to answer all of that, and they're going to get you with a licensed therapy that's going to be able to cater to your needs. Let's say you meet this therapist, and you guys are vibing out, and the vibe is not what you're feeling. They can get you to a different therapist at no extra cost whatsoever because they want to make sure they cater to your needs. Now, for me, I've had a tragic, things happen in my life. One of them being my sister. When she passed away, I had so many questions on why did she do it? Was there something I could have? He's going wide. He's going wide in front. He's going tight in the right. And this is where Diego can make some difference. He gets here and he shells up in his shell right here. He needs to be active with his hands to we call it keeping him honest, where he doesn't allow Volkanovski to come here and throw some shots. Nice light shots inside against Volkanovski. Push kicks keeps him honest. He's got to be doing the same shit Alex Volkanovski's doing, and not allowing Alex Volkanovski to go to this side, to this side. He's staying shelled up, which gives Alexander Volkanovski the opportunity to come in and do whatever he wants, and then he's always trying to counter. So he's always second to the punch. He's always going to be a step behind when he does this. Let's see how this one plays out. Okay. Not bad. He threw something, didn't overextend, but that wasn't bad. But see, Alex Volkanovski initiated it, and he's ahead of him. It catches him again. Because he's playing catch up. Another analogy way to think about it is like if we were to race right now, and I said 3, 2, and I take off, you're one step behind. That's what's going on with Diego Lopez. He's always a step behind Alex Volkanovski. He's going wide. He's going tight to the right. He's always working on this bubble. He's going here. He's going here. Then he'll do work here. Where he hasn't tried to go this way or this way, he's staying here to fight. So I'm going to race this because he's not doing this or this. This is Volk. This is Volk. I'm going to go Volk, 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 L. He's fighting him from 3 different angles where he's fighting him from 1 angle. So that was the premise of the whole fight the first time I watched it. And I was like, okay, so if Diego Lopez can catch Alex Volkanovski, he'll beat him. But if he allows Alex Volkanovski to do this the whole entire time, he's going to lose because he's always one step behind. Now he's no shot. Okay, now Volk took him down, which is in heavy, nice knee. Bunch. And this is what I mean. Lately, I've been talking to you guys about when I'm breaking fights down. Alex Volkanovski didn't have to shoot that takedown. He didn't have to put this fight in this situation, right? But he did. He has it in his ability to, even though I'm beating you up on the feet, I just dropped you twice. I'm going to shoot a takedown, and I'm going to fuck you up against the cage. That's somebody who's world championship caliber, where you see guys, they don't take it to that level. Right? Like, he didn't have to do this to Diego Lopez. He didn't have to shoot, but he did to throw it on the table. So now Diego Lopez has to be like, okay, I'm behind on the feet, and when we get against the cage, he shot. We got some good wrestling there, so I'm in for a fight everywhere. And a takedown. Like, this is why he's one of the fucking best in the world, because he's willing to take the fight here. Where there's, yeah, I'm gonna let my analysis do what it does. Okay, he's baiting the triangle. Mike.
All right, let me check on this pizza real quick.
going back and forth, going wide, not being the beat. Now he's trying to come forward more, so he's got to be more active. And he's going wide, and he's going to the left, so he's circling more inside. He's always feints. And your guys' question, like, how do you stop somebody from going back and forth? Okay, you have to be more active with your 1-1. You got to be more active with your 1-3, 1-3-2. Or when he goes this way, you got to start trying to hit that inside. Or you got to back up and then reestablish the distance and then start over again. Or you got to get him turning. You got to be first. But he's allowing him to be first. That's why he's able to turn Diego each time. Let's continue to watch the fight break out. Right, there's no, and right there's no inside nines whatsoever from Diego Lopez. He's not disturbing Alex Volkanovski's base. He's allowing him to go back and forth whenever he wants. And you can't allow that to happen when somebody's being so agile and moving back and forth. I like how Diego Lopez is slowly walking across the void, but he's getting too close inside the void and not exchanging anything inside the void. That makes sense. He's trying to catch him. So Matt would always tell me, you're trying to hit him, you're not going to hit him. You need to throw bullshit out there just so you can appear. So imagine this, okay? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 holes. And in this hole, you have a fucking whatever you want to call it, right? If I'm sitting here waiting like, okay, here it comes, boom, I hit it, I might hit it, I might not. But if I just start like feinting, being close, then when one pops up, I'm here and I can react faster. That's what Diego is doing. He's sitting there waiting. He's waiting. Okay, he went off first. Okay, he went first again. Bro. He's still waiting. No inside, no push kicks, no right hand, no jab, no nothing, no inside. Okay, he's reacting again. He just reacted again. He's turning. All right, no, still nothing. No push kicks, no insides, no nothing. Like, he's always reacting. So that's where Volkanovski is beating him, because he's reacting to him. Instead of inside, boom, push kick, boom, jab, 1, 1, 2. Get him going backwards and not circling. Okay, I'm gonna let the fight play out a little more, and then I'll tell you something else changes, because this is what's been going on for the last. He didn't have to shoot, which is, I like that idea for Alexander Volkanovski. I like it. He didn't have to shoot, but he did. Alex constantly turn him. That was good from Lopez. Something different. Double jab. Once again, who went first? Alexander Volk went first. So Diego's playing catch up. And then he shoots.
Oh, I kind of went too loud with the eye.
And that's why it's hard for Volk to fight Ilya, because Ilya cuts him off. Ilya, as Volk goes this way, Ilya goes.
There's two faces on one character. No, this is two different characters. One is literally sitting on top of the other one's head.
That's the difference. Why it's harder for Volk to fight Ilya, because Ilya won't allow him to lead this dance. Once again, he reacted and he kept circling. Now he starts adding different tricks. Once again, he's behind. He's always behind. Even though this is where Diego Lopez can be dangerous, is that he can take the shot and draw in, Alexander Volkanovski to start exchanging, because he can't keep up.
All right, let me get this piece out the oven.
All Volkanovski's doing, all he's doing is circling. He's just circling. So he's being first. That's all he's doing. He's popping him and he's moving. So when he hits him, I tag, I'm already moving when you start to make your next move. That's why Alexander Volkanovski's been able to do this and not take any significant damage for 2 rounds. What? Look. That's where Volk gets in trouble, is if he stands there and does a circle. Right? Let me go back to that. Okay, watch. Watch how he starts to stand and bang and keep on circling. And also think he went 1-1-2. Let me see. Alright, jab, move, circle's good. Okay. Boom. What was the difference? Lopez was going forward and Volk didn't circle. So that was the last time he got dropped in that fight. He was okay, we're gonna keep circling. Look, now he's back to circling. Constantly circling. Let me see, I think it's the same thing. We'll do a little more of this, then we're gonna go to the next one. Let's see. Like I said, I think if Diego Lopez would just fight more against Alexander Volkanovski, I think he'll do better more instead of allowing him being first. When you're allowing somebody with IQ to be first, they're always going to be a step ahead of you. And then you're trying to catch them in between the exchanges instead of if you're first. Then if he responds in the exchange, you have the opportunity to be ahead of him in exchange and then catch him in between it. Or you'll catch him because you went first and he's reacting to you. But that's right there. That was a great combination from Diego Lopez. He took no price. He didn't get in trouble for doing that. It was a good 1-1-2, and Volkanovski moved away from it. But he's just allowing Volk to be first. And like I said, this is why I wanted to see Lerone Murphy versus Alexander Volkanovski, because I feel the fight could be exactly like this, where Lerone Murphy is going to fight totally different, potentially totally different. And then it's, you know, he got one win. It's just Volkan. Like everyone's, oh, the fight was close. Alex is up 3-0 right now. He's fucking piecing him up. Look. Look at that. Lopez looks way better. He's reacting. Look. Once again, he's constantly circling. Volk is constantly circling. Great combination from Diego Lopez, just not on target, but he's pushing Volk back. And he has to understand, when you're fighting someone with the IQ, they're going to recognize that, and they're going to take that as not a loss, but a little bit of, like, Volk gave him a little bit. And maybe even he can even go, like, he's fighting Volk again. I wouldn't even like to see him go shots here, like a jab to the body, to the chest, to keep him from going underneath, and extend your arm too. That would also be another tool for Diego Lopez to use. Right, behind again. Look, there's a shot. Even though he defended it,